All right, Dodge Sprinter 3500, and I am doing a suspension upgrade. I'm using a SuperSteer. First thing I'm starting with is a shock replacement, rear shocks, and I'm gonna do the struts on the back. But these are made by Koni, and they're SS88 1889. And you'll need a 13/16. I'm using an impact 13/16 and just a wrench for the far side. And you can see I've already removed this first one. I'm ready to take it off, and I'm just going to replace it with a new one and bolt it back up and torque it. I'm doing each side. I'm starting with the shocks. And these are going to be 80 foot-pound torque settings, so I'll torque them out and move on to the next project. So that's all it is to replacing your shocks on the back side here. So just get you 13/16, get you an impact on one side and open on the other, just to hold it, and pop them out, and then just reverse that process to install them. So I've already taken the bolts off on the other side too. So I'm just literally going to replace them. All right, thanks for watching. All right, I thought I'd show you. There's the factory sway bar, end links, and factory rear shocks. And I'll show you what I've replaced that with. Okay, and now I want to show you what I've installed, and to give you some pointers if you're trying to do this maybe. Now, I'm doing this on an Itasca Navion, and I'm over 6 feet tall, but if you position yourself under your rear differential, you're able to sit up, which makes this installation a little bit easier. Still kind of tight in here, but let me walk you through the process. Now, the sway bar install, you can see, is much thicker than SuperSteer. And then I put a traction bar on. I think they call this a 701. And the sway bar, I believe, is actually made by Roadmaster. But you see I have also new end links. And they did send new sway bar brackets here. I think that might have been an add-on kit, because this is an 07, it's sold as an 08 Itasca Navion or View. But any Sprinter, this is a huge upgrade. So now the sway bar end links are torqued at 80 foot-pounds. And these bigger bolts here on the track bar, they have heavy 120 to 150, or maybe 100 to 150, but they're way up there on torque settings. Now, most of these all get some sort of Loctite that comes in the kit, but installation is pretty straightforward. Now, if you're doing just the sway bar, then you're not going to have these additional inserts back here. But if you're doing the track bar with the sway bar, you'll have some inserts, and it's important that you get the orientation right. This one is oriented this way because the track bar itself is in that last hole, and it comes over and bolts back in here. You have to thread this out to make it fit. And then you do have to tighten this lock nut here. Now, if you're doing the sway bar, you're going to have end links to replace. Orientation of the hardware is not particularly important. What is important is that some of this is thicker, so they'll give you bolts that you'll use. Some of them are longer. The one bolt that has to be oriented correctly is this one. You have to make sure that the head is this direction toward the rear, because that traction bar rides here. Now, in terms of sizes, I used a 27 millimeter over here to get these. And in terms of the impact, I did use impact. They're 1 1/8 on the heads, 1 1/8. And it is a tight spot, but it can be done. You can torque these as you go. It might make it easier, because when you get here, you're going to have a tight spot to get back behind here. You can do that, but it is tight. And I was able to use my 1 1/8 over here to slide in behind there. So now I did replace also the rear shocks, and there they are. Now most shocks, when you cut the band wrap, they'll automatically expand. Not these. These are heavy grade. So when you get these, they don't even have a band on them. Once you set the head here, you're gonna need to pull this. That's how much of an upgrade it is. You're gonna pull them down to sit in that saddle on the bottom. And these also are 80, 85 foot-pounds. So the complete kit on the rear end is the shocks, SS89. Of course, Roadmaster or SuperSteer's sway bar upgrade, which is much thicker. And then the track bar that basically attaches to the top of the end links here. So let me get you, I'm in a tight spot, but let me try to move my camera around so you can kind of get a good view. All right, now the next thing I'm going to be doing is upgrading the struts on the front end. But they sell this all as one kit. You can buy the entire kit. In terms of time, they say an hour to 2 hours. And that's about right if you follow the procedures carefully. Some of this is very critical that you do it in sequence. I mean, for example, if you're going to do the sway bar and track bar, you're going to need to start with the sway bar, but you're going to make sure you insert these pieces here before you put them back on. Don't tighten up these top end links yet until you get your track bar installed. Now this makes a substantial upgrade in terms of sway as well as tracking. But there you go, that's a big difference. And I showed you in an earlier a video, what I took out, so you can see the big difference here. Alrighty, appreciate you watching.